hasn't started calling me Daddy yet. Maybe it's because I'm always on the go and see her much.
When my husband and I visited our best friend's new house, her husband's... John said that. I quickly reassured him it's not like that. I tried chatting with his daughter, but she only stared at me, not uttering a word. I recalled Jean saying she was a quiet one, and it seemed accurate. Lost in thought. I was jolted when Reina's expression changed as she saw the person standing behind me. She darted past me, beaming.
Daddy, let's play.
My heart stopped as I spun around. Reina was hugging not John, but my husband.
Sweet, your daddy's over here.
John said, attempting to bring her to him, but she clung tighter to my husband, tears in her eyes.
I want to play with Daddy.
My husband appeared dumbfounded and uneasy. Then what's going on? Little did I know a surprising revelation awaited us. I first met my now husband, Kevin, in college. My good friend John invited me to a co-ed barbecue, and that's where Kevin and I crossed paths. He was tight with Jean's boyfriend, John, as they'd gone to high school together.
That one is it raising the bomb. Like Kevin's a catch. Offers us way off Caritas. Stops mopping numbers.
Suggested Jean's boyfriend. I had a good vibe from Kevin, so we exchanged info. Things progressed from there, and soon we were dating. John and John were thrilled for us, and we'd often go out as a foursome. Throughout college, my memories always have John and Kevin in them. The post-grad, I started working at City Hall. Kevin took on a role at his father's law firm, preparing to inherit the business. Jean ventured into fashion, while top student John landed a gig at a trading firm. Our bond remained strong, even after launching our careers, often catching up over dinner. John and John tied the knot when we were 26, and Kevin and I spoke fondly of them at their reception. For a year on, Kevin popped the question, and I was over the moon. We teamed man and wife. I recall that at the time. Sean was expecting, and John couldn't have been happier. Fast forward 5 years, they had a girl. Reina. John's work took them abroad, but Jean and I stayed in touch. His job kept him busy, often overseas. John adjusted, focusing on being a full-time mom. As for Kevin and me, half a decade into matrimony, we cherished our quiet existence, though it lacked the spark of our earlier years. One concern loomed: we hadn't been able to conceive. Already 33, I was yearning for a child and growing anxious. At one evening, I broached the subject with Kevin. It didn't happen for us again this month. Distracted by a show, he responded, "Oh really? Should we consider a fertility clinic? You want a family too, right?" Already 33, I was yearning for a child and growing anxious. As to one evening, I broached the subject with Kevin. It didn't happen for us again this month. Distracted by a show, he responded, "Oh really? Should we consider a fertility clinic? You want a family too, right?" He turned off the TV. Disheartened, I barely whispered, "But why?" Without answering, he said, "I'm heading to bed," leaving me in the living room, tears welling up. The next week, I sought Jean's advice, sharing my worries. I told her, Kevin's not on board with treatments, but over the phone, she responded gently, "Have you been tested?" "I have. They said I'm fine. Sometimes it's just about the right match. Stay strong." Our chat lightened my mood, if only a little. I shifted gears and asked about her daughter, Reina. "Thanks for letting me vent. How's Reina doing?"
Yes, good. He's good. But we think she might have some developmental challenges. She's not much of a talker.
"Oh, is that so?"
Is she my precious girl no matter what?
"I bet she is. Has it been 2 years since we last saw each other? I miss you." Then, to that, she responded with enthusiasm, "Guess what? We're having a house built right now. Once it's ready, how about we all meet up?" "Seriously? That's awesome. Let's count us in for the housewarming party."
Bestie, estimate to see you too.
I ended the call after our chat. Catching up with an old friend really boosted my mood. Later that evening, I shared the update with Kevin. I chatted with Jean today.
"She's good, and so is Reina. John's off on yet another extended business trip. It's passable, and here's a surprise. They're having a house built."
We talked about catching up at their housewarming once everything is settled. Mid-conversation, Kevin interjected. I responded, "Before a house, I want a baby."
"We'd need to plan for things like a nursery."
His face clouded over. It matters to me, as case. His words caught me off guard. What do you mean? I've been checked out and everything's good on my end. How can you say you're okay when you haven't even been to a clinic? He looked briefly rattled but then shot back. He quickly finished his beer and made a beeline for the bathroom. His words stunned me into silence, and I sat processing for a bit. Fast forward a month, and John told us their house was ready. This with a gift in tow. Kevin and I drove about an hour to their impressive new digs. It was even more luxurious than I'd pictured, but I suppose it was within reach given John's earnings. Great to see you. Kevin and Helen greeted us. Came in. Back from traveling. John, sure I am, just got in yesterday. The two guys seemed generally thrilled to catch up, streaming the living room. I spotted Jean in the kitchen.
Brought you a little something.
As we talked, a thought struck me.
Where's Raina?
She up in her room playing.
Like I said before, she's a bit unique. Got it. Do you mind if I pop in and say hi? Before Jean could reply, John, having overheard, commented with a touch of melancholy. She still doesn't call me daddy.
That's not the reason. In her eyes, you're the best dad.
Trying to reassure him, we were interrupted by the soft patter of little feet. She had grown so much since the last time I'd seen her.
Hi, Raina. It's been a while. Do you remember me? I'm Helen, a friend of your mom and dad.
I said brightly, but she just stared silently. I recalled John saying she was a quiet one, and it seemed accurate. Busting thought. I was jolted when Raina's expression changed as she saw the person standing behind me. She darted past me, Basniam. Addy, let's play. My heart stopped as I spun around. Renee was hugging not John, but my husband. John and John looked just as shocked.
Sweetie, your daddy's over here.
John said, attempting to bring her to him, but she clung tighter to my husband, tears in her eyes.
No, I want to play with Daddy.
My husband appeared dumbfounded and easy. What's going on, Kay? He responded, trying to brush it off. John added, laughing it off. Yeah, kids can be so random. Oh, Raina, they always keep you guessing. All I could do was force a laugh. Later, Raina retreated to watch some TV, and amidst the tension, we ate and soon left. That's on our way home. I mentioned Raina seemed pretty fond of you today, even though she's typically so shy. He looked uncomfortable, then said kids are unpredictable. It sure was something. We drove the rest of the way in silence. The next morning, I got a text, Helen, thanks for coming by yesterday. So we need to talk. Just us. It was from John. I quickly texted back. I've been thinking the same thing. He can see this evening. We met at a local cafe that night. John was already waiting when I arrived. I sat down across from him.
Thanks for coming. Fried, thirsty, crisp. Brighty, bright. I wanted to discuss.
I cut him off. Fictions. Kevin and Jean, right? He nodded slightly.
Even though often away. I never doubted Jean, but after Raina's a daddy moment, it's been eating at me.
Me too. It's a stretch, but could Raina be Kevin's?
His reaction confirmed my suspicions.
You need proof. I'll try to get as much proof as I can on my end. I can handle your side.
I'm on board to help figure this out. Where do we start? A month later, I suggested a trip to Kevin. He settled into the passenger seat as I drove us straight to John and Jean's. As we pulled in, he was visibly confused. Why are we here? John's place? What's the deal? I thought we'd drop in for dinner. I said, feigning cheerfulness. When I knocked, John's surprised face greeted us.
That game God's prosperity. I guess Kalki's Sam Swix here. What's the location?
Then John appeared. Come on. Renaina's with my folks, so she's not here. He led us to the living room, sitting opposite my husband with me next to him. Kevin asked, bewildered, smiling. I motioned for him and Jean to sit across from us. As they tried to grasp the situation, John said firmly,
Let's talk about the two of you and your relationship. George, your brother.
Their expression said it. John, looking shocked, quickly fired back.
The relationship are you talking about? Kevin's just the husband of my good friend.
Is that so?
I clicked on the voice recorder I held, playing their voices for everyone to hear.
Man, that was close the other day. Oh, I see Rena running to you like that coming. It took me by surprise, too. husband's kinda oblivious, so we're guides. Let's enjoy today.
The recording kept playing their intimate chatter until Jean yelled, "Turn it off." Kevin was in a panic.
Staying calm, I replied. All those overtime days, I put a voice recorder in your car. You played right into my hands.
Both of them looked utterly stunned.
I also did the DNA test. But he isn't related to me. Start talking. Turbana slide. Retaliation.
After a beat, they spilled everything. Kevin, envious of John's success and charm, pursued Jean back in college. She was game, seeking some thrill. Being part of a foursome made their secret trysts easier. John got pregnant, presenting Reina as John's child. They'd meet secretly, making sure Reina called John Daddy. After hearing it all, John just shook his head. "You two are something else. I'm going to see you both." I chimed in. "Count me in. I'll see this through, even if it ends up in court." John finally said, "Fine, let's get a divorce. The real family can be happy together." Kevin retorted, "I don't want a barren wife anyway. I have a sweet kid." Granted this. I couldn't hold back my laughter. They looked dumbfounded. "A real family? A sweet kid? You can't be serious. What's so funny?" I shot back. "Kevin, you're the infertile one. I secretly had a sample from you checked at the clinic. Turns out you can't naturally father a child." "What?" I smirked. "So, who's Reina's real dad?" Kevin turned a deep shade of red, while Jean turned ashen. They bickered back and forth until John threw them out. In the aftermath, Kevin and I, as well as Jean and John, all went our separate ways in divorce. They racked up debt, compensating us. Dina confirmed Reina wasn't Kevin's. John stayed mum about the real father, and last I heard, her parents are raising Reina. The identity of Reina's dad remains a mystery. Both Jan and Kevin, now on their own, are hustling to pay off their debts. While they're clearly having a rough go, I can't muster any pity. As for me, life's been good, just me and my peace. John and I, having faced this storm together, occasionally grab a drink as pals. While I can't see us dating, I hope our friendship lasts. My focus now. My work, and finding someone genuine.